Welcome to the Idiot's Guide. I'm Mackie Hall, and today we're going to be talking about animating with Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Animate. For those of you who don't know, Adobe Animate is a powerhouse application designed for building interactive animations for video, games, and the web. With it, you can bring animation and banner ads to life, create avatars, and create animated and interactive infographics. You can also publish to multiple platforms on just about any format. That includes everything from an animated GIF to a high-end video format. Combine this with Adobe Illustrator, and you've got easy access to be truly creative. For this 8-part beginner tutorial, we're going to learn how to create this simple web tutorial using Illustrator and Animate. Here are the steps. Part 1, let's get started. Building Illustrator art, file setup, and importing. Part 2, create a looping animated symbol. Part 3, using motion tweens for basic animation. Part 4, adding stop actions. Part 5, creating buttons and button-based actions. Part 6, advanced buttons, basic button hover animation and linking to outside URLs. Part 7, publishing options for your web ad. Part 8, importing into an adaptive web page. This is part 2, create a looping animated symbol. And a quick note, if you're coming in at one of the latter stages of the tutorial, be sure you start at step 1. That's always going to be the most helpful, and that'll get you on the path to creativity the fastest. For this piece, we're offering an Illustrator file down below or in your Canvas page to get started. Let's go. All right, let's get started. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to do the following 4 things. First, we're going to learn how to lock, unlock, hide, and then show our layers. Next, we'll create a looping animated symbol. This is our focus. We'll also learn how to test our animation on a web page, which is the desired output medium for this piece. And of course, we'll learn how to save our piece. We're going to do this on the regular as we build out this or any other piece. As you can see right here, this is the piece we imported from Adobe Illustrator. And notice when we imported this specific piece that the layers came along with it. With that in mind, we're going to be working on the clouds, which is buried beneath our other layers. Now we can do a couple of things here. We can always grab our cloud layer, click, drag it to the top of our layers and show it above the others. However, I want to keep my layer order intact. Just makes it easier to work on. Note that if we want to manage our layers, we can just click and drag them from point to point. Again, I'll drag my clouds layer to the top, release, and then I can bring it back down to its original position right above sky. If I want to undo that, of course, you can press Control Z or just select Edit, Undo Move Layers. Now that we've decided we want to keep our sky layer in its current position, we can do a couple of things. First, we can lock all the layers above it. We can do that easily enough just by selecting our layers and clicking the lock icon next to each one. I'll click on all of them until we get to clouds. Now we can select clouds, as you can see right here. However, we can't select any other layers with the exception of the sky layer. With that in mind, it's a little too crowded to actually get to our clouds. So instead, what we want to do is we want to unlock our layers and hide them instead. Here's how we do that. We'll just select unlock on each layer to make them unlocked. And of course, we can hide them by selecting the eye icon right next to each layer. I'll select the hide icon for all the layers that I wish to hide. Note that as I click on each layer, they become invisible. Deselect my shapes just like that. Notice now that we've made only our sky and clouds layer visible. With that in mind, I might as well lock my sky layer. Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and create our looping animated symbol out of our clouds. The way we do that first is we're going to select our cloud layer and then we're going to right click on it and select Convert to Symbol or F8. We'll rename our symbol to Clouds. And we'll change our symbol away from a button to a movie clip. Each symbol has its own set of properties. One can be a movie clip, which intends to maintain an animation. The next, of course, is a button that allows us to click on a respective piece and have it perform some action. And the last is a graphic, which is just simply a still image. Again, for this symbol, we'll keep it at movie clip. We'll leave all the other settings alone and we'll click OK. Now that we've done that, we want to animate our symbol. And the way we do that is we'll double click on our symbol. And note right away at the top of our stage, right next to scene 1, you'll see our symbol selected right there. That means we're ready to edit our symbol. Now with that in mind, what I want to do here is I want to have my clouds looping infinitely. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take this cloud scene, I'm going to copy and paste it in front, and I'm going to move it all the way to the left so that my rightmost cloud is directly above my leftmost cloud. Why do I want to do that? Well, if you'll notice, my leftmost cloud is in the exact same position horizontally and is the exact same cloud as my rightmost cloud. I did that on purpose so that I could loop it. So how are we going to copy, paste it in front, and then move it all the way to the right? Well, here's how we do that. First thing we're going to do is we'll go Edit, Copy, or Control C, and then again we'll select Edit, Paste in Place, or Control Shift V. Once I've done that, I've pasted a copy of my clouds directly above my cloud layer. How do I move that now? There are a couple ways I could move it. One is simply click and drag my shape off to the side just like that. I'll undo that. I can also use my directional keys and slowly arrow my piece over just like that. I'll undo that. Or what I could do for a fast movement is I could hold my shift key down and arrow it to the left. When I arrow it to the left holding my shift key, it moves it at 10 times the distance of when I just press it with the directional key alone. So let's get started. Holding the shift key and my directional key, I'm going to arrow to the left. I'll wait till I'm directly over my leftmost cloud. There we go. We'll stop right there. I will deselect. Now that I've done that, I can leave my symbol by clicking on scene 1 to have a look at what my new symbol looks like. Now that I've deselected that, you'll notice if I drag around my scene, if I move around my scene, you'll notice that my cloud symbol now has 2 sets of clouds in it. If I want to bring my stage back to center, all I need to do is press Ctrl-0 and it will size and move back to center of stage, just like that. Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and animate our piece. Again, what I will do is I'll double click on my clouds and let's create an animation. Here's how we do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to my timeline layer and I'm going to right click and I'll select Create Motion Tween. Now watch what happens. When I do that, I'll get the warning here that says multiple objects are selected. You must convert them to a symbol in order to tween them. That's fine. We'll convert them. They're already converted. So we'll click OK. And then we've got this line that's knocked out. Now that we've done that, we've got a tween or an animation length that's exactly 1 second long. That's fine. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the last frame of our motion tween, just like that. Again, we're going to hold our shift key and arrow all the way to the right so that our new leftmost cloud is in the same position as our center cloud or our old leftmost cloud. Hold my shift key and let's arrow over. That looks good right there. Now we've created our first animation. If we want to test our animation, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our timeline and grab our marker and drag it all the way to the left. If we want to test it, we can just go back to our timeline and press play or hit enter. That looks pretty good just like that. Now, since we're creating a looping animation, how do we test how our animation loops? Here's how we do that. Again, we're going to go back to our timeline and grab our marker and move it all the way back to the beginning. And then we're going to click on loop. Once we've done that, notice that in our timeline, we've got a start and finish arrow. We're going to click our finish arrow and drag it all the way to the end of our animation or motion tween. Once we've done that, let's go ahead and give it one more test. Let's press play. Our piece is properly looping over the course of 1 second. Let's stop that by pressing pause. And let's get rid of the animation loop. One thing that you can notice is our tween is moving way too fast. So instead of having our animation or our motion tween play out over 1 second, let's drag it out so it moves over 20 seconds. Here's how we do that. We're going to select our frame, just like that. Then we're going to hold our arrow over it until we get our direction symbol that looks just like that, those two arrows pointing on either side. Next, we're going to left click, and we're going to drag out to 480 frames. That's 20 seconds long. Once we've done that, we'll release, and we've got our animated symbol exactly how long we want it. We could go ahead and test that within our piece, but that would be a little bit cumbersome. So instead of doing that, what we're going to do is we're going to test our animation in our final medium. Here's how we do that. We're going to go back up to our stage, and we're going to click on scene 1. That takes us out of our symbol. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Control. We can either select Test if we've got our test medium set, or we can select Test Movie, and we can see what our test medium is. Notice that it's already set to browser. So we can either click on Test in Browser, or we could just go and select Test or Control Enter. Let's do that. Note that straight away, our animation opens in our web browser, which is going to be our final medium. And note how the clouds are moving. And that is our looping animated symbol. Let's exit out of our web browser. And let's ignore our output warnings here. That's fine. Let's go back to Timeline. And let's go ahead and save our piece. We do that by selecting File, Save. Let's rename our file. Let's select our destination, rename our file to Animate, Test, and we'll save our file right here. We'll deselect our cloud layer, and for this piece, we are done. There you go. You have completed step 2. Proceed to the next step. All right, if you have any questions, comments, or critiques, leave them in the comments section below. Otherwise, throw me a like. I'd really appreciate that. Otherwise, subscribe. I'd appreciate that just a little bit more. We'll see you next time. See you.